Hello, welcome back to our educational videos. Today I am going to talk about sexual life of an art critic. Don't mistake me, don't misunderstand me, it is not about me. We always talk about ethical practices in the art scene. Artists or art critic or art dealers, we prefer them not to involve in the personal lives of the other people. If you are an artist or an art critic, you should not use your authority to exploit each other. An art critic may be approached by artists. They may be young and vulnerable, but as an art critic, one should not exploit them in whichever way, sexually, financially, or emotionally. Here I am going to talk about an art critic who has actually gone a bit far. But before that, I am going to talk about some of the artists who have used sexual imageries in their works. Sexual imageries and pornographic imageries are a taboo for many of the countries, for many of the artists, for many of the conventional art scenes. But today, artists dare to do it, especially in the till the late 19th century. We know that the Impressionists, Impressionist Edward Manet, when he did the Legion at Grasse, many people got offended because they thought the woman represented in that particular painting was familiar to them. But after that, throughout the 20th century, we could see a lot of male artists doing female nude, almost verging into pornographic images. But things changed as we moved forward in our culture, cultural outlook, civilizational interpretations, etc. As the world changed, artists also changed. Look at this work. This is by Chris O'Feely, the famous British artist, the black British artist, and he does this kind of images. This is called Madonna, or this is a female divine image, and you can see there are a lot of pornographic images that you see in the glossy pornography magazines. He has interpolated, he has used as collage in creating such so-called divine religious imageries. Chris O'Feely's works became polemic, controversial in the British art scene, but compared to other countries, British art scene was egalitarian, and they discussed it vehemently and approved of his paintings. Chris O'Feely still is active, and of course, he has moved away from this kind of paintings. This was one of his early works. And we have a Rashid Rana. This is his Wheel series. Wheel is the kind of cover that the women, especially from the Muslim communities, use. Rashid Rana is a Pakistani artist working between London and Pakistan, London and Lahore. This artist also has used so many pornographic images. You can see the whole wheel is created out of this, may be a bit blurred image, but you can see each portion, each pixel is made out of pornographic imageries that you could see in the glossy magazines, in the pornographic magazines. So this is a double-ended criticism. One thing, using wheel as a cover, to protect the feminine modesty, the modesty of the female belonging to a particular community, and using the same imagery built out of pornographic imageries. Actually, it inverses the whole discourse around wheel and related issues. Here we have another artist, T. Venkana. He is a young artist working mainly with the Mascara Gallery in Mumbai. He also uses this kind of an image. You can see this is a penile image, male organ. Also created the small little images. You can see there are the faces of human beings and the whole, or the male beings, the men. And you can see that together they become a male organ. So if you look at it, this is a critique on the male dominated society itself, because men usually they say that men think out of their groins, they don't think with their brains. So men together in a public domain, men together in a public sphere, they think like, if you use the word dick, they think like a male human organ. So it is a strong critique against the male dominated world. Here is another artist. When if men can articulate such strongly, that strongly, with a strong imageries culled out of pornography or from the surroundings, women artists also could, especially the young lot of the women artists in India, also could use the female genitals, female organ, to express their standpoint regarding the sexual matters. So this is Shido Shiv Suleiman, and she had her presentations, her huge works presented in the last India Art Fair. So this is a clitoral image, a flower, which is very decoratively painted and presented, which almost looks like a kind of scriptures, which has some kind of an interpolation with, or addition with one kind of a clitoral image or female genital image. So this is an intervention of a female artist or a woman artist in the male dominated society, using an image which is almost pornographic. It is not pornographic, but almost pornographic. And here we have another artist, Megha Joshi. If you look at this work, it is Megha Joshi, a Delhi-based artist, Gurgaon-based artist. She is performing, she is doing a photo performance in which she changes her body into a kind of breast, by adding this prosthetic nipple at the knee and the elbows, etc. So it is a critique on the male objectification of the female bodies. Like, men, when they look at the female body, they look only at they derive only the sexual imageries. So it is a direct critique. It is a looking back in anger, looking back. The nipples, the eyes of the breast become a counter gaze by presenting her own body in this photo performance. Uh, This is again another work by Megha Joshi, where she uses these blow horns, like these pump horns, into rubber with the rubber balls. She adds the prosthetic nipples so that they turn into a sort of pair of breasts, which actually makes sound. If you just press it, it will make sound like an old bus sound or something like that. So it also invites the tactile tactility, or it is very tactile, and it invites touch. And when people do it, male or female, especially the men, tend to press on this kind of an imagery, and it makes a sound, and that comes as a kind of a female protest. Another work, a series of tampons, blood soaked or sodden tampons, which actually looks like a female genital. This is again by Megha Joshi. I'm not saying that they are using it like a pornographic imagery, but they could be they could be actually interpreted standing at the verge of being pornographic. It is not a disparaging or condescending comment, but I am trying to drive at a point where I could locate this particular art critic. This art critic, if all the other art critics, as I said in the beginning, are practicing a sort of ethical standpoint, or doing some kind of a ethical practice in the art scene without actually exploiting each other. There may be exploiters, but without exploiting each other. If there are art critics in the scene, here is an art critic who was very, or who is still very prominent in the French art scene, in the Parisian art scene. Her name is Catherine Millet, and she has a she is the founder of a particular art magazine, very respected art magazine called Art Press. So Catherine Millet's speciality is that she involves in having physical relationship with the artists, critics, galleries, art dealers, buyers, art collectors, and random people. She enjoys sex. She This particular book, she has written a book which is called The Sexual Life of Catherine M. So this is the sexual life of an art critic, and she has explicitly detailed how she has gone through various sensations, various stages of having physical relationship in order to understand the art world. It is a kind of subversive practice as far as she is concerned, but she has actually attracted so many criticism based on ethical practices or ethical nature of art criticism. They say that whoever criticized her, they say that it shouldn't have been done. In 2002, in the Guardian newspaper, one of the writers of Guardian newspapers wrote about this particular book, and she wrote in this way: Catherine Millet did not want to speak. She did not want to be seduced. She did not want to be paid. She did not want to become involved in any sadomasochist power game. She did not even want to flirt. She simply wanted to enjoy a lot of penetrative sex, and on the way and she says, on the way satisfying my intellectual and professional curiosity. So this is written by Jessica Behrens in 2002 in Guardian. So what we could infer from this statement is that she has a lot of curiosity towards intellectual and professional aspects of being an art critic, and the way or the method she chooses to understand or analyze or experience this curiosity, or to get answers for her curiosities, is the way of sex, having sex with a lot of people. She had even orgies with unknown people, random people. So this kind of art criticism also exists. uh, if you ask, is it advisable to have such kind of art critics, we could say that it is not really. But if somebody wants to do it, so then we cannot say that. We can say only that it is their personal choice. So in a male dominated world, this could be coming as a very blasphemous, very scandalous thing. But in a from a feminist point of view, interestingly, Catherine Miller doesn't identify herself with any feminist discourses. I had written about this book because I picked up this book from Singapore when I visited Singapore in 2009 or sometime, and I wrote about this book in my book titled "By All Means Necessary," published by Kerala Lalithkala Academy. It is available in Amazon. So when I read it, I was so impressed, and I wrote an article there. I also mentioned Annie Sprinkle. Annie Sprinkle was a sex worker, or still she is a sex diva. She's a professional sex counselor. She was a sex worker. She started off as a sex worker, and then she took a PhD in sex as a female sexuality, and today she is considered to be one of the performance artists who uses sex as one tool to analyze the female and feminist positions. That is one thing. That is the important thing about the relationship between the kind of a virtual or a kind of spiritual relationship that I try derive between Catherine Millet and Annie Sprinkle. And this is the one of the superstars of art criticism, Jerry Saltz. He is also considered to be a very sexually charged or very sexy art critic. But of course, definitely, I know that Jerry Saltz is not Catherine Millet. He may have sexual escapades, or he may also have had some relationships with different people. But definitely, as far as I understand, Jerry Saltz has been having a very ethical practice, very blunt, very open, outspoken kind of a practice. I don't want to make a comparison between Catherine Millet and Jerry Saltz, or art critic like Catherine Koo. There is another art critic, there was another art critic, Catherine Koo, and there are many other art critics. Matthew Collins, another person to reckon with. But I'm not making any comparisons. But I could say that there are art critics who have used their body, their sexual curiosity, or their professional and intellectual curiosity to using sex as a tool to satisfy those curiosities. They have used sex as a tool, and it must be blasphemous for us to know, but there are things like that in our art scene. Thank you.